Ralph is the bad guy in the arcade game Fix-It Felix Jr. His job is to wreck the building so that Fix-It Felix can fix it up again, and he's very good at his job. However, Ralph is getting tired of doing the same thing all the time and never being appreciated or liked. On the 30th anniversary of Fix-It Felix Jr., Ralph decides to leave his game and join Hero's Duty, a brand new shooter where the winner gets the Hero's Medal. After getting his hands on the medal, Ralph accidentally ejects himself from the game only to land in Sugar Rush, a racing game that takes place in a candy kingdom. There he meets Vanellope, a glitch in the game, who takes his medal and uses it to get into a preliminary race that determines who the racers for the next day are. In order to get his medal back, Ralph has to help Vanellope win the race so that he can stop being seen as a villain and Vanellope can stop being seen as a mistake. Wreck-It Ralph suffers from one major flaw. It does not take full advantage of the completely awesome world it creates. The first half of this movie is freaking fun. Being a video game lover myself, I was totally into the setting and the video game humor. While I wouldn't say the film goes bad in the second half, it does completely lack all of the little in-jokes present in the first. Plus, when you have a movie about an arcade with so many different games in it, I would have expected to delve a little more into the world. It really is a shame because there was so much potential going in. The story, as far as it goes, isn't bad. It definitely benefits from having a genuinely likable main character. Always like to see Disney trying something new with their heroes. The other characters are also pretty good. Felix is this excellently granola character who manages to be likable despite how pathetically goody-goody he is. Jane Lynch's character is also pretty fun, and they have this weird, sort of hilarious romance going on. Vanellope is probably the weak one out. I could take or leave Sarah Silverman. I don't really like or hate her, but I do think the character may have benefited from having an actual child actor do the voice instead of a grown woman. Because when I really stopped to think about it, the character would have been a lot more likable if the voice hadn't been so grating at times. As it is, it becomes a little harder for me to sympathize with her regardless of how tragic her situation is. The animation is pretty good. It's very colorful and employs a lot of fun tricks to make you feel like you're in a video game world. And the 3D was okay too, although I noticed some parts towards the end may have relied a bit too much on the 3D. I liked the character design quite a bit, which was nice and varied based on the games the characters came from. And speaking of animation, I totally dug the short film Paperman at the beginning of the movie, which apart from being a really cute story, was also beautifully animated. I would love to see a whole movie that looks like that. Seriously, if you see Wreck-It Ralph, make sure to be on time for the short beforehand, which I hope to see at least nominated with the other short films at the Oscars this year. As for Wreck-It Ralph itself, the saving grace of this movie really is the fact that Ralph is a likable character and is fun to watch. There's enough heart and enough humor to carry the movie through, and the story is okay. I was just expecting it to be more about the arcade as a whole rather than the Sugar Rush game. To be fair, everything is tied together in the end, which comes to what isn't a bad little twist when you get right down to it, and it is an enjoyable watch. It just suffers from a bit of lost potential.
Why do I fix everything I touch?
It's make your mama's proud time!
I love my mama!
Oh, good. The cops. Hold still.
Ow!
Take that.